at home, but I don't like being at home under these circumstances with everything that's going on in our world. A month ago, who would have ever thought we would be looking at situations like this? And it's very surreal. I think it's not really set in to everyone just yet exactly what we're going through, but we passed a bill out of the House Saturday morning early. The Senate just passed that a few days ago, and we've been back in Arkansas. The House members have, or been back in our districts all across the country, but been extremely busy having conference calls with different organizations and groups, trying to understand where needs are and where shortfalls are. We want to make sure that those essential services are out there. And we will have another piece of legislation that we have to pass at some point. The senators are actually there drafting that bill as we speak. The House drafted the last bill and sent it to the Senate, and now the senators are drafting a bill.
So I guess let's get into some of these bills. What are we looking at here? What was the most recent thing passed, and kind of what is the Senate looking at doing now?
So we've basically had two pieces of legislation to date. We've got the first bill was a $8.3 billion emergency spending bill. And, I've got some of the details here. $4 billion of that go to testing. $2.2 billion goes to CDC for response. That's with $1 billion of that exclusively for state and local response efforts, and $300 million for CDC's infectious disease rapid response reserve fund. There's $20 million to administer disaster assistance loans for small businesses. $1.25 billion for the State Department and the U.S. Agency for International Development to protect Americans abroad and prevent the spread of the virus worldwide. There was $264 million in that to evacuate Americans and maintain consular operations overseas, and $200 million in USAID's Emergency Response Fund. So that was in that first tranche of legislation that we passed with $8.3 billion. This last bill, it was called the Families First bill.
Yeah.
And it called for free testing for anyone. That's extends to Medicaid and Medicare, but to all citizens to be able to have free testing for the virus. It also has some expanded family and medical leave and paid emergency sick leave. It provides leave for workers who've been diagnosed with COVID-19, or if they're caring for a family member who's been diagnosed with it, or if they're caring for a child or another dependent because school or a daycare facility is closed. And it also, this applies to companies with fewer than 500 employees. And there was also emergency paid sick leave requires 14 days of paid sick leave for those same three groups of people who would be affected either with the virus, taking care of somebody with it, or having schools closed. And all of that's being paid for with a tax credit. So it's not, at the end of the day, the small businesses won't be out the money on this. We also have extended unemployment benefits. There was a report out recently that said we could see unemployment spike as high as 20% over this virus. So it's really things have changed quickly. If you think a month ago we had an economy that was on fire, record low unemployment rates, and this wasn't something that was caused by Trump or caused by a liberal. It was caused from a bat in a meat market in Wuhan, China. A tiny virus that we can't see, and it's literally brought the world to its knees right now. So we're trying to respond to this. The goal is to flatten the curve so that we don't get a spike in healthcare and overrun our healthcare facilities. We want to smooth that curve down so that when people do get sick with it and need hospitalization, that we can have the facilities there and the people there to take care of them. That's the whole goal of this. And the quicker we can get past the peak, the quicker the economy can get back on track.
I do want to ask you, though, because I know it's been kind of bantied about here, is paying basically every American sort of a sum of money. How serious is that? Or is that something that Congress is really looking into?
So that would be the third tranche of legislation. That's the package that the Senate's working on right now. And I think that's a serious look that they're taking. I've heard people say, well, that's socialism. I disagree with that. If you look at what's happening here, even go back to the preamble of the Constitution of what's the purpose of the federal government, and it's to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, and promote the general welfare. That's what the federal government is trying to step in and do right now. If this were a foreign army attacking our soils, there would be no end to the resources we would spend to defend our country, to defend our citizens against a foreign army. This isn't a foreign army, but it's attacking our country, and it's our government's responsibility to try to fight against that, to protect our citizens, to keep our economy sound, and that's what's happening with these bills that are being proposed.
And I know one of the big things right now is tax day. I know a lot of people have sort of kicked the idea around of extending that or delaying that filing date. Where are we at on that?
So the filing date hasn't been delayed, but the payment date has been delayed for 90 days. So you still have to file your taxes by April 15th. Now, this changes daily. You know, this could change. We're recording this a few days in advance, so this could change by the time you air this show. But as of right now, you still have to file by April 15th, but you do get a delay in paying those taxes interest-free.
All right. The latest there from D.C.'s angle, Bruce Westerman. Bruce, we certainly appreciate the time, and if you've got any more updates, feel free to come back on, let us know.
Yeah, good to be with you, Jay. Appreciate you all getting the word out, and we'll get past this. It's unprecedented times, but this country has been through rough spots before, and we'll get through this one, and there will be brighter days ahead.
Absolutely, and we'll definitely have you back on for some of those brighter days.
Thank you, Jay.
All right. Well, coming up after a quick break, we talk to some local leaders in the restaurant and retail industry on how the virus is having a financial impact here in Arkansas. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
Sold it. Attention Greersbury Lake Home buyers and pilots. Absolute real estate and personal property auction. 90 Bonaire Road in Higdon, Arkansas. With a beautiful 4,000 square foot, 4-bedroom, 4.5 bathroom lakefront home. With an airplane hangar, neighborhood airstrip, and boat ramp. Also selling a Ranger trout boat, Bad Boy mower, UTV, and more. Download and bid online with the Wilson Auctioneers app or live on site Friday, April 17th at 11 a.m. And everything is selling regardless of price.
Sold it.
Got debt, no money, call honey.
These bills are really worrying me. I know what you mean. I feel like I'm drowning in debt.
We are a bankruptcy firm with over 30 years of experience helping Arkansas families get back on their feet. We are dedicated to stopping foreclosures, repossessions, and bill collectors. Call today on your mobile. Star 33. Be debt-free. Call Star 33. The Honey Law Firm. From your cell, that's Star 33.
I'm a martial artist, a skydiver, a pilot, and all of them require your feet to work. Get up in the morning, and it felt like I was standing on marbles on my heel. When I went into the Good Feet store, the fitting was personalized. It was all about me. You put in the arch supports, and your day becomes better, and the sun shines, the unicorns run by, and, you know, it's a good life. I'm Randy, and that's my Good Feet story.
See for yourself with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Every year, people are injured or killed when their work equipment touches a power line. More than chainsaws. Accidental falls. Even worksite explosions. If you must work near power lines, please call 1-800-ENERGY and we'll make sure it's safe. Keep your distance. Keep your life. Entergy.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
Welcome back into Capitol View. The coronavirus taking a toll on business across Arkansas, especially in the restaurant and retail industry. And joining us now to talk about this, former lawmaker and business owner Jim Keet and business owner Eric Herget. And guys, we certainly appreciate the time. Jim, let's start with you. I know the restaurant industry has kind of been the talk of the town, especially here in central Arkansas, with Little Rock sort of getting out ahead of the curve here when it comes to limiting options. At some of your establishments, what are you guys doing to try to combat that and try to keep things going?
We have been very proactive at protecting both our employees and our guests by limiting the type of service that we provide. Rather than being full-service restaurants, we have limited to only drive-through, curbside service, and delivery. And the response has been great by our guests. They understand that we have employees at stake, and we have a lot of challenges in front of us. So we're so grateful for the people that are still coming to our restaurants and utilizing our services. I'm so happy that Governor Hutchinson responded so quickly to enable us to have both wine and beer available for drive-through pickup and delivery to kind of help us through this very difficult time. And so we're just weathering the storm. We've had to, unfortunately, take a lot of internal steps with staffing, and but we have had so much cooperation from our landlords, our bankers, our suppliers, so that we can help weather this storm as a group. And so we know that when our Kansans get together, we can survive just about anything. And so we're very optimistic about the future. We just have to figure out how to get through the next few months and end up very much stronger once we weather this storm.
And for your guys personally, how have you sort of expanded roles or changed roles just within some of your restaurants? Because, you know, as a waiter, obviously you can't do that at this current juncture. So what have you done with some of your staff internally?
Well, Eric, I don't know if you want to take that, but I will tell you that my oldest son, Tommy, who is my partner, along with my son, Jake, and our whole family is involved in our business. But Tommy has sharpened his skills as a dishwasher for 2 of the last 3 days. Worked for 2 hours washing dishes both yesterday and the day before. But literally every single person in our restaurant family has stepped up to the plate. We have all taken on additional roles. Our general managers are now answering the phone. We have assistant general managers that are washing dishes, that are delivery people, literally. Our sommelier, Susie Long, has been out there putting together an entire wine program for pickup at our Petite and Keet restaurant. The governor has been already a customer, a guest of ours on takeout today at Tzatziki's on Cantrell. So every one of our restaurants is getting behind this, working hard to get through it. I'm so proud of our staff. We've had to make some terribly difficult decisions. In fact, I've been in this business since I was 15 years old. This is the most difficult time I've ever gone through, and especially as it relates to our staff, because we consider them all to be a member of our family, and that isn't just a cliche, it's something that we mean. And so we've had to make some tough decisions, but I can tell you this, I've been fortunate to work with our congressional staff, with French Hill helping put together a couple of meetings on that, with the governor, with the mayor, every level of government, trying to see how we can weather this. We're hoping that we can get some relief by having our business interruption insurance enacted at a national level, so that we can bring employees back even more quickly, make sure that they don't have any financial distress as a result of this. So we're doing everything that we can, both as restaurateurs, as recovering politicians, just trying to get everything together.
Oh, that's fantastic. Eric, let me bring you in here, kind of get a different perspective here. And I know you're a little bit of both out at your establishment. You kind of got the grocery store and the restaurant, so you're kind of seeing this from both sides of the aisle.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, first of all, I'd like to say hi to my friend Jim Keet. And Petite and Keet is a heck of a restaurant, so we're glad he's here in town. I do get to wear 2 hats. We have the grocery, Heights Corner Market, and we have our restaurant here. Obviously, the restaurant is closed right now. My hat as with the Arkansas Grocers Association, I just couldn't be more proud of how our grocers are working. The biggest challenge we have so far is we can get the product. It's just having the people to get it on the shelf in a timely manner, because there's so many people running around these stores. So I'm nowhere near as big as a box store, but we're doing the best we can to get product on the shelf while we're trying to get the product in your basket. But our staff's doing great. I hear nothing but good things about the other grocers around town and around the state. that there may be some empty shelves, but it's not because of lack of product. It's because probably there's a bottleneck on getting it to the shelf. But I think everyone's doing great.
Well, and what are we looking at from the retail end of things? I mean, obviously you're part of that association, but what have you heard from some of those guys? I mean, obviously you got clothiers and things like that, a little different world, and a lot of people may be taking some hits at their disposable income. What are some of the challenges that you've heard from some of those guys?
Well, if what happens here is what's happened in New York and California, where they're going to force people to stay home and away from their business, then obviously they're terrified, I'm sure, and their employees are terrified. So if you're deemed non-essential, then you've got some troubles. Hopefully, your landlords and your bankers and the government, hopefully there'll be ways to fix these things. But yeah, that you have to be scared to death as a retail merchant of what's going on right now, and there probably aren't many people coming in.
I want to bring it back to some of the supply chain issues that you brought up. And you said it's not necessarily the fact that we don't have the products. It's just a matter of getting them out there. Is this almost an opportunity where some of these grocers can maybe help out with some people who maybe have been laid off right now? Are you seeing any of that? Is any of that being bantied about of hiring some extra workforce?
Actually, I have heard of groceries hiring workforce, and in fact, what we've done is we're transferred our restaurant workers into the grocery. So our chef is actually going to be cutting meat out of the meat department tomorrow and working the floor and other workers, and we're working our servers in. So we're doing everything we can do, and my guess is the other groceries are hiring as well, just to help get product on the shelf and make sure customers are taken care of. It's stressful out there right now, and we want to make it, all retailers, all groceries, all restaurants want to make it as easy as they can on people.
Well, gentlemen, we certainly appreciate the time here. It's some fascinating insight, and hopefully we can visit with you guys when maybe these things calm down and everybody starts bouncing back. Again, Jim Keet, Eric Herget, we appreciate the time. All right, and when we come back, we take a look at your top political news. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
Nothing is more important than family, especially in uncertain times. In response to the recent world events, we're taking steps to protect our family with Hyundai Assurance. When you buy or lease a new Hyundai between now and April 30th, we'll cover your payments for up to 6 months in the event you lose your job this year due to COVID-19. Plus, 0% APR financing to well-qualified buyers on select vehicles with deferred payments for 3 months. Hyundai Assurance, because making things better for your family is our first priority.
As the polls close,
what's your headline tomorrow?
If you win states, that's a big deal.
KRK brought you up-to-the-minute results.
Joe Biden is projected winner in Arkansas.
As we race towards November, count on KRK4, your local election headquarters.
Airlift Concrete Experts is your go-to company for trouble with any settling concrete. We use a structural polyurethane that is injected beneath the structure to raise it back to a level state. And every job we do has a warranty. Call Mike at Airlift Concrete Experts.
Oh, hi. I'm Tanya Harding, Direct Auto Insurance spokesperson. Sometimes life doesn't go exactly as planned. We've all made mistakes. None of that matters to Direct Auto. They look past your past and help you get the car insurance that you need.
Hey, Tanya.
Hi.
Would you sign this for us?
Oh, I can't do autographs in the office.
Oh, this is for Helen's birthday.
Oh, the one looking right at me?
That's the one.
Get Direct and get going. Get a super low down payment for as low as $35.
For limited time only, right now, spend a little, get a lot at Down South in El Paso. If you don't want to get out and shop, but want to take advantage of our tremendous offer, listen up. Call in and buy a gift card to use later, or come in and shop. With your purchase of $250 or more, Down South will give you a gift card for 30% of your purchase for free. You'll also get 12 months, no interest if you shop now.
You're not cookie cutter, and your home shouldn't be either. So y'all come see us Down South in El Paso.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
We're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
Welcome back into Capitol View. With unemployment numbers expected to soar across the nation, Congress is scrambling to pass a nearly $1 trillion relief package to help Americans stay afloat. Democrats like Senator Chuck Schumer says relieving millions of Americans of burdensome monthly student loan payments is one way to help. His plan would instead force the federal government to pick up the tab, up to $10,000 for each borrower. But so far, that provision isn't in the plan. GOP senators and the White House bill agreed to waive interest and fees, giving students flexibility to defer those payments.
We got to help the students and those with big loans on their backs.
There are a lot of people that chose not to go to school, and we want to make sure that we're being equitable.
The Department of Education says students will be able to defer payments by up to 60 days with no fees. To request this forbearance, borrowers should contact their loan service online or by phone. As federal health officials encourage us to use telehealth services instead of risking infection of ourselves or by others by visiting the doctor, those without broadband internet service don't have that option. And in many of those who live in rural America, Washington correspondent Jesse Tenor reports lawmakers are trying to level the playing field and save lives.
We can make certain everyone during these times of a pandemic have access to care.
Telemedicine is now the first line of defense against the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Congress recently brought in telehealth services to allow more patients to see a doctor on their phone or computer without risking further infection to themselves or others. But Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn argues many are still left out.
You cannot have access to 21st century health care or emergency response without access to high-speed internet.
Blackburn wants her Senate colleagues to include rural broadband expansion in their next coronavirus relief package.
The care you're able to receive does not depend on the zip code where you live.
Senator John Kennedy also sees the effects of a digital divide in his home state.
We've learned in Louisiana a lot of our rural areas don't have internet. Forget about 5G. Or 4G, they don't have any G.
Kennedy has introduced legislation that would give states billions of dollars for rural broadband infrastructure. But the fiscal conservative says coronavirus has put it on the back burner.
I mean, we don't have time to pass it now.
But the appetite in Congress for expanding broadband remains, with some of Kennedy and Blackburn's colleagues supporting expansion not just for telehealth, but also for the kids and parents now learning and working from home. In Washington, I'm Jesse Tenor.
Thank you, Jesse. Some lawmakers say the coronavirus highlights a threat to our election system. The threat of illness could keep voters from the polls. Coronavirus concerns caused 5 states to delay their primaries so far. And rather than risk voters' health, most states already have some form of mail-in or absentee voting. But Senator Wyden wants those options extended to all voters for any reason. Wyden says Congress needs to pass this vote by mail bill now.
For those older veterans and millions of others to vote in a safe way this fall.
I don't think Washington, D.C. should be dictating to the 50 states how they should vote. Well, that's one of the ways that we protect our states and our state's election system.
For now, the bill hasn't found enough support to pass the Republican-controlled Senate. U.S. Agricultural Secretary Sonny Perdue says Americans should not panic. While stores' shelves might be bare, there's still plenty of food. Perdue says U.S. farmers are working diligently to keep up with demand, but farmers are also concerned. Tim Seifert, an Illinois corn and soybean farmer, says the pandemic is a threat to farmers already struggling to rebound after nearly 2 years of trade fights with China.
Last 2 weeks, we've lost about 60 cents on our corn. When you drop 50 or 60 cents, that puts us below the cost of production. That's very, very unnerving.
The American Farm Bureau Federation says significant challenges lie ahead for the ag industry. The organization is calling on the administration to help so they can continue supplying food. And we are back to wrap it up after this. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
Got debt, no money, call honey.
These bills are really worrying me. I know what you mean. I feel like I'm drowning in debt.
We are a bankruptcy firm with over 30 years of experience helping Arkansas families get back on their feet. We are dedicated to stopping foreclosures, repossessions, and bill collectors. Call today on your mobile. Star 33. Be debt-free. Call Star 33. The Honey Law Firm. From your cell, that's Star 33.
Sold it, sold it, sold it.
Attention real estate and equipment buyers.
Check out what's coming up on the Wilson Auction blog. Lakefront properties on Greers Ferry Lake and Lake Hamilton. Land in Quitman, Batesville, Hot Springs, and Conway. Commercial property in Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Bologna. Equipment and personal property including trucks, tractors, mowers, boats, UTVs, and an FJ40. All selling at auction. Download the Wilson Auctioneers app and bid now.
Sold it, sold it, sold it.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
It has no doubt been a trying couple of weeks in the state of Arkansas as we navigate through uncharted territory. The state Surgeon General, Dr. Greg Bledsoe, took a moment during one of the daily press conferences to talk about how inspired he has been by how Arkansans come together in those tough times.
The course of the last 5 days, I've been on the phone a number of hours. I've talked to literally hundreds of people around the state, not just healthcare folks, but business leaders, hospital CEOs, insurance executives, elected officials on the state and national level. And it has been really an unbelievably inspiring experience for me. I wish that the people of Arkansas could be like a fly on the wall and see some of these conversations and these interactions. Without exception, these individuals that I've spoken with have gone above and beyond to help in any way they possibly could. Most of them, if not all of them, have given me their personal cell phones and said, call me anytime, day or night, if I can help you or the state with anything. And it, to me, is a great reminder that we live in an incredible state. We're a small state, but we're connected very tightly. We have a tight community here. We all know each other. And the fact that I can pick up the phone and call folks on their cell phone and get the answers that we need to help fight this virus is an amazing thing and a great advantage for us in Arkansas. So really thankful for that, thankful for Governor Hutchinson's leadership and the leadership of Drs. Patterson and Smith as we move forward.
Let's go. Shout out to Eddie, the translator there for the sign language there. Well, let's take a break from all the coronavirus news. Take a look at Washington, D.C.'s cherry blossoms. They are in full bloom. The National Park Service announced on Friday that the blossoms have peaked a little early this year. Experts say that that's because our nation's capital has been experiencing some warmer weather lately. Well, that is going to be it for today's show. We are back with an all-new Capitol View next week. Make sure to stay safe out there, wash your hands, enjoy the rest of your weekend.